Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. In this Loom video, I'm going to talk about how you go ahead and gather inspiration. What are you supposed to look for? How do you bring that to Figma and then, go about designing a particular screen, right? How do you create a cocktail basically? Now, I'm going to be taking one of the simplest screens ever, which is the login screen. And a lot of you might think that it's quite easy to make it look visually good, but sometimes people struggle a lot. And I'm going to be showing you how I design a login screen. And of course, a couple of iterations as well, because, it's not great to just design one screen and finalize that. You want to try a couple of different concepts and visual directions and having different visual languages before finalizing on one, right? So in this case, what I have here is a fake, food app. It's called Foo. And I've just created like a simple logo with some text. There's nothing too fancy. Basically, the idea is to help you find great places to have food, right? That's it, right? That's the basic concept. Nothing too complicated. And in the login screen, we're going to have, these are things that we have sort of predefined. We want the logo for sure. You're going to have a tagline basically as to what the app does or what the product is about. We're not going to be using any phone login because maybe this is a business requirement that's come and they say that it has to be done with signing up with Google, signing up with Apple, or signing up with email. So only three methods. You have two social logins and you have one with email, and then you have a button for login. Now, can we just have Google, Apple, and email and no login? We will look at that as well when we go and get inspiration. But for now, this is sort of the base that we need before we go ahead and start, designing interfaces and, gathering inspiration. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Mobbin. Right. Sorry. Yeah. So here, what we want to do is I've actually gone and filtered for the welcome and get started screen. So if you look at patterns, I've gotten welcome and get started. So this is basically sort of the launch screen where you have the various screens. And what I'm going to do now is sort of eliminate screens that I don't want, all right, and shortlist screens that make sense to me. Okay. And I will be shortlisting screens on multiple different factors. And I will be talking about why I'm rejecting a particular screen, why I'm shortlisting a particular screen. Okay. So if you see all of these screens, they just have two primary actions, which is get started or sign in, right? And we don't want that. We want, based on our needs, we need a screens which has, Google, Apple, email, login, all these sort of different buttons on the screen, right? So I'm going to reject sort of all of this, and I'm going to come down over here. Right. This is a very interesting thing, right? But this has some sort of an onboarding built in, but we're not going to be having an onboarding. We're going to have some sort of a very static screen. Now we see two screens over here, which is one is welcome to Todoist, which looks pretty nice. You've got some logo, you've got, some text, you've got continue with email, continue with Apple, Google, and Facebook as well, right? Now, I'm not very sure if I'm going to use it, but this looks like a screen that sort of suits my context. So I'm going to go ahead and get a screenshot of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and place it over here. Okay, I'm just going to place it over here, make it 375. Okay. Let's go back again. This also sounds, pretty interesting. I'm going to copy this as well. Place this over here. Now, one thing you can see here is that here you have sign up with Facebook, sign up with Apple, sign up with email, and you have sign in, right? So basically these are signing up and this is logging in, but Todoist doesn't have anything like that. So which basically means that whether you're creating a new account or you're logging in, the app will automatically identify whether you are a new user or an old user and go forward, right? That's how that's how Todoist has decided to go forward with it. So they don't really have like a login or a sign in. But here, Drop has a different mechanism altogether, where if you want to sign in, you have to tap on sign in, and then you can then sign in with Apple, Facebook, or email, right? But if you're signing up, you typically want to use these three CTAs. Now, the other thing you can note here is the copy. Here it says sign up, right? Because it's clearly indicating that these three are for signing up. This is for signing in. But then here it says continue. So continue could be in sign up or sign in. So that's another thing that you want to sort of keep in mind. So let's go forward and let's see if we can get another one. Now I will take this screenshot as well. And the only reason I'm taking this is because I'm going to use this for just UI purpose. Okay. So what that means is, for example, I'm going to go ahead and sort of make notes of what I want to really take inspiration from. So here in this case, I want to take inspiration from the colored background. Okay. Because the other two have just like a plain background color, right? So this is just white, and this has colored. So when I'm going to come back and do iterations, I'm sort of going to go ahead and look at all the various small pieces that I gathered and try multiple iterations for that as well, right? So here we have an illustration. Here we don't have any illustration. So I'm not yet sure whether you want to go the illustration route or maybe you want to use images or anything like that. So we're just gathering inspiration and noting down points that we think we can use for inspiration in the future, right? So here Twitter again looks pretty nice and very clean. So you can see you have the logo on the top, right? So maybe we could use that as an inspiration. So I'm going to make a screenshot, get that screenshot, bring that over here, and maybe I'm going to say center logo, right? Maybe, I don't know if that looks good, right? The thing is, I feel that maybe we could sort of combine all these together, right? They fit very well because we have a large amount of screen space. And also the login looks a little bit different. So it's up to us. Do we need a button or do we need like a text link? Sort of for us to decide. And the center logo over here, right? So I'm just gathering inspiration. We may or may not use it. All of these are pretty much the same. Here, the thing with Dropbox is that although it does sort of suit our needs, but I just feel like I don't like, these three contrasting colors. It feels none of it is getting, because all of them are getting attention. None of it is getting attention. So I don't really want to go this route. So I'm not going to sort of take that screenshot, right? Moving forward again, all these are pretty nice. Here you've got images. Now for Reddit, I don't really want to take inspiration over here because I can't really see the text, and the images also isn't getting that much attention. So not really something I want to consider. But the other thing to note here is that they've got skip, right? Now typically, if we wanted to add skip, we could have that. But in our case, we are assuming that we do not want to skip the login on the sign up process. We want to sort of make it mandatory. That's a choice that we are taking as a company, right? Great. So again, a couple of things here. Notion has a lot of information. We don't have a lot of information, so maybe I'm not going to take it. But again, if you look over here, they've got sign in with Google, Apple. They've also got, you can continue with email or continue with SAML, right? So here in this case, we could probably take this as inspiration if we decide to sort of make continue with email a secondary or a tertiary action, because right now it looks like Google is primary, Apple is secondary, and continue with email is tertiary. So we could sort of take this as inspiration as well, right? We're going to drop that over here, and we could say different emphasis for each method, right? This is how I'm sort of taking inspiration. Now here again, this looks also interesting, not for the design, but sort of for the layout. Not for the content, but for the layout. So maybe we could use some sort of an image over here. So I'm going to take that, bring that over here. Okay. And here I might say that, let's go ahead and, sort of use an image. That's interesting. All right. Great. Now Medium has given all these 4 equal emphasis, and they also have sign-in. So maybe that's another direction that we could take, right? So I'm just going and gathering screenshots, and I would sort of, okay, let's actually put this over here. Okay. And he would say equal emphasis, right? So equal emphasis. Great. Now this is also very interesting, right? Nike's one. The image is full screen, which we sort of was different over here. So I can sort of bring this over here, and maybe we could try a nice visual direction, right? For this. So we could have the logo, and then we could have, the sign-in buttons, one below the other. I'm not very sure, but it's inspiration that we can take, right? Now here again, Evernote, you have the email right up front, but now in this case, this depends sort of on the business. Do we want users to sign in with email, or do we want them to sign up with other social media platforms? I think in this case, Evernote is sort of pushing users to sign in with email. So if that's the case, we could go with this. But in my case, I'm going to assume that, we want, we don't want to give emphasis to email. It's their choice. So we don't want to give it the highest emphasis when compared to the other social logins, right? So none of this again sort of suits our needs. This also looks fine and interesting. But then I'm guessing this is again sign up with email, and this is sign up with login. I could take this as inspiration as well, because you've got some sort of pattern and things like that. Maybe, but I'm just not going to take it in this case because I want something very simple and minimal. Here again, so here is another interesting concept where we have sign in with Apple, and then we have other sign in options. So I'm guessing this must be Google, Facebook, and email, right? That's another direction that you can go if you want to keep your interface very clean, right? That's another direction, but I guess I'm not going to go that because I don't want that additional extra step, right? Here again, this is also pretty interesting where you've got sign in with email and then log in with another account, very similar to what we saw over here, right? But I'm not sort of going to go with that. This is also very interesting. Sign in with Apple, Facebook, sign up and login. Beautiful. But again, the problem here is that the image sort of loses some sort of emphasis, right? Spotify, again, very similar. They're signing up. I think this is with email. That's their primary method. That's what they want to push. And the rest sort of have a secondary treatment, and then login has your tertiary treatment, right? So, and as you can see, we are sort of looking, and what I'm trying to say is, as you scroll more and discover more, you will sort of start finding similar patterns again and again being repeated. And this is basically what you want to do. Here again, continue with email is your primary, the rest are secondary. Here again, sign up with email is primary, the rest are secondary, right? Here it's again different. So yeah, that's another one. Here all of them are same, and I don't like this, blue and white contrast, looks quite bad. Here again, yeah, so not very sure. But yeah, I guess everything starts repeating. So with whatever we have, let's go ahead and, just try to sort of design a couple of interfaces and see how that goes. So I'm just going to create a new frame, make it 375 by 812. Let me go ahead and quickly get the status bar and the home indicator. All right. So let me get the logo. Okay. I'm going to drop that over here. Okay. And I'm going to make the logo quite big. Okay. Let's probably make it 48 pixels, whatever. Right. Of course, maybe this is too much. Let's make it 30. Right. And I'm going to sort of move it. I'm going to keep it 24 pixels. If you want to take inspiration again, you could sort of come here and check the distance. These guys have used around 32 pixels. These guys have used around 20 pixels. So it's totally up to you what you want to choose. I'm going to stick with 24 because that's different. And I'm going to have a tagline as well. So I'm going to type in helping you find food faster, right? Just a simple tagline, and I am going to come here and change this so that the I and F don't touch each other. Okay, great. Helping you find the best food faster, right? Just something random. Okay, and let's say I'm just going to make this 24. Okay, I'm going to bring this over here as well. And let me space this by, maybe, 24, right? Great. Okay. Cool. Now, again, for color, typically ideally you never want to use pure black. So I will pick one of the colors from here as well. I think I like this color, so I'm just going to steal it for now. Okay. So helping you find the best food faster. Now, again, if we look at this, does the logo sort of, gain prominence over the rest. I don't know. So maybe we could bump this up to 32, right? Maybe that's too much. So I'm going to sort of reduce this down to like 25, right? And we can sort of bring these together. So I'm just eyeballing things here. I'm just seeing how much is too much. And I think this looks fine. So I'm just going to make this. So ensure that you have 24 on both the sides, helping you find the best food faster, right? And we could go be clever, and we could just select this and, you know, give this the same color. You know, we could try to be clever, but, you know, I'm just going to keep it simple for now. All right. So we've got some, so we've got the logo and the tagline, and, you know, maybe we could add another subtext as well. But, you know, not sure if we do sort of really need that. We could if we need, but maybe not. All right. And then we're going to sort of create the buttons, right? So here again, sign up with Google, Apple, email, right? So let's go check. So all of these are getting sort of the same attention, right? Here, Google is getting more attention. Apple is getting less attention, right? Here, all of them are getting equal emphasis, right? So it's sort of up to us to decide what direction we want to go and what we want to take. In this case, let's just assume that, you know, sign up with email is our primary, and the rest are, you know, secondary in nature, right? And the other thing, if you see here, is that Apple is usually black in color, or else it's sort of white. I think it's sort of part of their guidelines, but you can quickly go ahead and check that and make sure that, you know, to see if anybody else has used it differently. So sign in with Apple is again black over here, but here again they sort of break it, which is fine, I guess. What else? Let's go down. So here again, Apple is black in color. Here it's pure white, it's sort of inverted, and here it's, you know, it's not, you know, it's not black or white. It sort of has a stroke. And I sort of feel that I think I want to go with this direction, right? Because it feels very interesting. We want to give email as primary, and then the rest as secondary, and then this as tertiary, right? So I think Spotify is pretty good, right? Here again, primary, and then the rest are secondary. So I think this is the direction that I want to go, because I feel that this makes a lot more sense. We want them to sign up with email. But again, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly create some buttons. I'm just going to say sign up with email, right? And of course, we want our primary to be 16 and not bold. Let's sort of keep them medium. All right. And let's create a button. And I'm going to give the primary color as the button color. So this is going to end up being white. Okay. Now again, you know, what should be the size? What should be the height? What should be the rounding? I think it's a personal choice. I think it's totally up to you what you want to do with it. I'm going to sort of make it, actually, let me make this 14, right? I think 14 is better. And put this in the center, and so 30, 24, and then we want 24 here as well. Maybe I'm going to increase the top padding 12, right? And then maybe make this 8, right? I think this looks nice. And we can make a couple more duplicates. I'm going to move this by 12 pixels, and then make 2 more copies, and we're going to call this sign up with Google, and then sign up with Apple, and here we're going to say login, right? Login. So yeah, I think that's fine. Or we could just say sign in, right? We could just follow whatever they're using. Cool. I think I like the split where they are saying, do you have an account? If you have an account, sign in. So I want to sort of do that as well. So I'm going to quickly get this. Already have an account, right? And this is going to be probably our 12 pixels, because This is 14. We want to drop that even more. So I'm going to make this book, and also, copy the same color code. Oh yeah, it's the same color code, and drop that by 60%. Or actually we don't, we could just leave that as it is. And then we could center these two. And then I'm just going to sort of bring this quite close, maybe 12 pixel here again. And here, I'm going to try a different interesting strategy. I'm going to sort of remove the fill and add a sort of a stroke. Okay. I'm going to copy this color, paste that over here. I'm going to drop this to 20%. Okay. And I'm going to paste that color over here, right? So we have some sort of, we're not using this green, this gray color fill, but we're using sort of a gray color stroke. And I think this is quite interesting. Okay. So I'm going to select these two and group them. Now, where do we place it? Should we place it at the top, bottom? We'll figure that out. But for now, we have one element ready. And I'm going to go ahead and get the other logos as well to put it over here. All right, so I've got both the logos, and let's quickly try to understand what I'm trying to do here. So I want to make this primary. Okay, I want to make these two secondary. So in order to make them secondary, I need to give them sort of the same emphasis. So I will go ahead and make these different colors, right? Now, if you want to see how, they give different emphasis for each method, one, you've got sort of a darker stroke, but you're sort of already using this pattern over here for sign in. All right. Right here again, here, all of them sort of have stroke equal emphasis. So let's go back to Mobbin and check if we can find something interesting, right? All right, cool. So again, stroke, we already sort of did that, right? And the other thing to note here is just look at the placement of the icons. Some of them are left, some of them are totally to the left, some of them are along with the text. So that's sort of your choice to choose what you think makes sense. Here again with Spotify, they're all sort of to the right. All of them to the left. Yeah, looking at it again, everything is sort of to the left. And here again, if you see, Apple is black, Facebook is blue, right? But in some cases, all of them were just black. So that's another interesting small thing to note, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try something different. I'm going to make these two white for sure. Okay. I'm going to make these two white. And the background, I'm going to sort of give that a different color, maybe the same color, right? And now this looks a little bit more interesting. Okay. And I'm going to change the colors of this to be, change it to be the same color as this. Okay. And select this Apple logo, and I'm going to drop this to 24 pixels. Okay. And we actually want to put them in a 24 by 24 pixel box. So 24 by 24, and then we can take the Apple logo and we can sort of shrink that in, right? This should be fine. I'm gonna drop this over here. All right, how much are we giving it? So let's give it like 8 or maybe 4, or no, actually 6. Yeah, 6 is fine. Yeah, do the same thing over here. The Google logo, I'm going to shrink that. I'm going to shrink that down to 24 and 24. Yeah, and then take the Google logo and then just nudge that in a tiny bit, right? Then we could sort of center this. Okay. And then you're going to select that, drop that there as well. So 24. 12 up and down. No, I think the height changed. So this was 42 as you see over here. This is 48 and this is 48. So I think we want to sort of keep the same size as this. So 42, which means we want to drop this by a couple of pixels. So we can make this 9 and 9. So this is 42. This is also 42. We can drop this 9 and 9, right? So we have something that looks like this. And let's sort of give 16 pixels spacing. Okay. So this is quite interesting. We've got something very interesting going on. We've got primary with sign up with email, and the rest. And I can actually make this black. Let's sort of make this black, or maybe the same color as this. sorry, yeah. And I'm going to group all of this together. Okay. And now there's a lot of things that we can do. Should we actually go ahead and have these sort of together? So I'm going to say 40 pixels and then drop them in the center of the screen. That doesn't look great, right? So let's go back and see, right? So there's a lot of distance over here. This is sort of anchored to the bottom, which also looks nice and interesting, right? Let's try a couple more things. I think all of them are sort of anchored to the bottom and all this is anchored to the top. So there's a good visual balance because there's something anchored to the bottom over here and there's something anchored to the top. But in our case, this is all we have. So I'm going to try something interesting where I'm going to sort of make this center align. And then I'm going to center align this as well. And then these are going to be grouped. Okay. And I'm going to move this to the bottom. All right. So maybe 24 pixels, which is fine. And then bring these two together around 48 pixels. And then bring these to the center. But then again, on the top, it feels like something is missing. So what I will do is again, ungroup this, maybe keep the logo on top, right? Maybe 24 pixels. And then helping you find food faster, we could maybe make this 32 pixels, group them, and then move them to the center, right? So this looks a little bit better. Not the best, but it does look considerably better compared to the others. Right. So this is going back again. Now the thing is, we want to sort of take inspiration on layouts, and we want to ensure that there's that good sense of visual hierarchy. So if we choose, so let's see, right? So if you look over here, they're using this sort of circle to sort of create that extra balance that's missing. Here they're using some sort of illustrations. Here everything is sort of in the center of the screen. Here they're using image to sort of fill in that gap and bring in that balance. Here again, this looks pretty nice. We could actually add a subtitle as well if we want. That can sort of also fix it. Maybe we can. Maybe should we? Or what we could do is over here we could let's sort of grab this, okay, and let's add in a subtext as well. So let me just auto layout all of this so that it's easier. I'm going to duplicate this. Right, and let me ungroup everything. And here we can say helping. So if the text says helping you find the best food faster, the subtext could be food. Why? I'm just going to say something. Why be hungry when Foo is here to help. I'm just making something random, okay, and I'm going to drop this to maybe 16 pixels and or maybe even 14 pixels. Make this book and drop the opacity to like 6, and we could reduce this by 6. Yeah, so something like this also can work. Let me sort of center this, right? Actually, you know what, let me go ahead and search for app categories and choose food and drink. Let's see if we can find something interesting. Get rid of this. Let's see. All right, I'm not quite sure. So we can find the best food faster, right? This sort of looks more balanced, and we could maybe bump up the logo, right? So let's bump that up quite a bit, and we could sort of keep this around. It's okay. We want to make sure that this is rounded numbers, and then 32 pixels is fine. Group them and center them. Oh, so we want to sort of optically center it, right? So this looks quite fine. This looks a bit interesting and looks a lot better, right? Yeah, now we could do a lot more other things where we could add some sort of an image as well. We could try that. We could bring in the image over here, but I don't think we have a lot of space, because you know, it is a lot of things are getting a lot of space is getting wasted here. But we could try. So if I were to sort of bring this down here, all right, and we could get rid of this, right? And we could just, what was the size of this? This was 25, so I could make this 25, and I'm going to bring them closer, so 32, and then maybe make this 48, right? And we could, or you know, in this case we could just get rid of this, combine these, so ungroup all of this, so this is 16 and 16, so you could combine all of this together, sort of bring this down 32 pixels, and we could sort of have an image over here, right? So let's bring in an image. I'm going to go to plugins and choose Unsplash. We just wait for that to load, and then just type in food. Let's see what we get. We get a bunch of some great stuff. Let's try this. Okay, so I'm going to copy that and paste that over here, and this looks interesting, right? And of course we want to make this white. This is one iteration. Let's make another one where we can center align these. So sorry, left align these, right? So if I go ahead and left align these, and then select this and left align this, we could left align these and move this over here. So we have 24, and let me reduce the size of this. This is another way. Not really sure what looks great, but this is a different you know, iteration altogether. Now we could try something very different where we make this entire thing full screen, okay, and we change the color of this to white. We change the color of this also to white. Maybe make this 100%, then make this also white, and we could add some sort of a gradient. So let me just add like a gradient on the image. Sorry, I'm going to add that on the image, and I'm going to choose like a linear gradient, just sort of inverse the colors, and I'm going to, instead of using like a black, I'm going to use this color that we have, right? And then change the hex. Got it, right? And let's see, we want to not sure why this is not, okay, make this 100%. Got it, right? So we could sort of bring this down here, all right, and maybe move this a little bit up, and we could make this text white, right? If we feel that it's not good enough, we could move this a little bit further. All right, great, looks great. We could even duplicate this, and you could just delete this one and bring this one, copy and paste, bring this a little bit down, maybe 32 pixels, then make this white. Now here I don't think we can see foo, so maybe make this also white. I don't know, not quite sure, but let's just see if we can sort of fix that problem. Right, right. So maybe this works because it was lighter over here, but it's darker. Yeah, but yeah, as you can see, we just by gathering a couple of screenshots, we were able to get, you know, a lot of inspiration. Now, if we want to go a little bit crazy, we could select all these iterations, drop them, and then we could just select all the buttons, right? All the buttons. I'm just going to select all the buttons. All right. Every single button. And, you know, bump up the corner radius and make all these rounded ones, right? So we will sort of want to make this also rounded. So I'm going to copy the settings, paste that everywhere, copy, paste, and paste, right? So we've got like we've got a bunch of iterations to pick from. And that's just by going and, you know, figuring things out and seeing, you know, sort of what works best for us. You know, but it's all about knowing where to go and what inspiration to get. Now, we wanted to do this colored background, so let's sort of do that as well. For now, I'm just going to select sort of the one that we finalized, I think, which was this. This is nice. Okay. So I think this needs to be a little bit more down. And of course, we want to use the primary color, which is this. Okay, which means all of this will change to white. The logo will end up becoming white. These two also will end up becoming white. Right, and here this will end up becoming white because this is our primary, and we could give this that color. Now what do we do? Yeah, sorry, this as well also should be white. So white and white and white, right? Now, but what do we do with this here? Here we've got a couple of options. We could sort of make them black or use a different color. So here what they do is they have, so let's actually go, right? And let's check what they have done. So if you want to go back to patterns and then welcome and get started, let's look at inspiration where the color is a different background color. Right, so they're using black. They're using black for places where we have a colored background. White already is taking the attention. All right. Right, so they're using the different colors over here, the respective colors, right? So maybe they have a secondary color. You know, maybe this app has a secondary color and not very sure what it is. So for now, let's just go with the same color as this, as the background, but maybe make it a little brighter, I guess. Not really sure, right? This could be an option. Not really sure if this is the best, but you know, we could sort of try that. Maybe we could try sort of a darker shade. So let's apply the same colors and then sort of bring it down, right? And then these could be white, right? This is another option that we have. We could make this white. This is another option. If we were to go with this, we could try another one where we create some sort of a gradient. So we'll say linear gradient, 100% on the top. We could sort of slightly change the color, add some sort of a pink color. This also looks nice and interesting. So as you can see, just by, you know, looking at a couple of screens, and in the matter of 40 minutes, I was able to create like a bunch of iterations. And I'm just going and stealing things, you know, here and there, right? That's how I'm planning to do it. So we tried this one where it was at the top as well, right? It looked nice, but then for some reason just felt out of balance because it felt too heavy in the center. So we choosing not to go with that. But anyway, hope this gives you guys some sort of clarity on how you can make design decisions, how you can go and gather inspiration, and you know, make a lot of iterations. So if you have any questions, do let me know on Discord, and I'll see you guys in the next Loom video.